arrive, and I believe you guys know Teresa, who is here as well. And we do have a visitor, Jody, who Teresa will introduce later on. Okay, so today's training is for the exciting Vista Higher Learning material. And so we're going to go into that and learn a little bit more about what you're going to have with that, with the product. Before that, though, we're going to discuss the district's mission, which is to educate, affirm, and inspire each student in an equity embedded school system. Our department mission is to create an equity embedded school system that includes and promotes an additive language acquisition model of instruction. I want you guys to go ahead and look at this question. How do you feel about teaching the English language development course? And I want you just to take a minute and think about this question. And when you're ready to answer it, go ahead and use the sentence stems and raise your hand so that I know you're ready. And I am going to call on 2 to 3 people to answer this question. All right, anybody ready? I don't see any hands raised, but anybody ready to answer? How do you feel about teaching the English language development course? Okay, let's see. Oh, thank you, Marie. Go ahead, you can unmute yourself.
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
I feel excited about teaching the ELD because I'm glad that I found a resource that is organized. So for me, that is like the best part. That is so organized. I love it. I don't even have to plan anything. So I'm really excited. So thank you so much for doing this for us.
I love that for you, and I love that not only for you, but for the students as well. And I think that it definitely gave the opportunity for you, and I hope that to really get to know your students and focus on their needs, because you're not so focused on what am I going to teach and trying to, because it's all there. And as you see the Vista material, you're going to love it just as much. So I'm excited about that. I see Shannon has her hand raised. Can you go ahead and answer the question, please?
Hi, yes, mine is very similar to hers. I feel very excited to work with the newcomers because I just love when they come here and supporting them. But I feel very supported by you guys for all of the tools and the resources that you guys provided for us. It makes it much more organized and easy for us to be able to do everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for that comment. That always helps us as we prepare to know that, good positive feedback, any kind of feedback, right, is much needed. So thank you for that. And I see Johanna. I hope I said that right.
Yes, me. Yeah. Hi, how are you?
Good.
I was shy to talk, but now that the other two say what I was thinking, I'm so excited because this material I think is awesome. I love my ELD kids, and it gave me more time to do something else. Like having everything ready for me, it's amazing. I have more time to spend with the kids, to explain the kids, to be with the kids, and I like it.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for that. And the reason why we have this slide again, remember, this is from the curriculum that we created, but we are putting some of these slides again to show you that even with the Vista material, you can still incorporate these. And this QSSA is a good way to get your students to speak, right? We always want to make sure that we're incorporating speaking in our daily lessons. So today we're going to review the Unit 1 overview, the pacing guide, the ELD calendar, and then Jody is going to go into the Vista Higher Learning, the online tools. And as you remember, this is the board configuration. This is another component that you've been using in our curriculum, and we want to share it with you again to make sure that you are able to continue to use this, as this is a good tool, especially to have on your smart boards, especially as administrators come in, they can see exactly what is being taught. The essential question is there. Today's is, how do we use our new Vista Higher Learning materials? And then this, you'll have the date, the standards, your objectives, the strategies, and your gradual release, which is the I do, which today I will explain the components in Unit 1 of the Vista Higher Learning curriculum. The we do, we will practice identifying the various components of the lessons using the V-Text and Teacher Edition. And then the you do, you will create your Vista Higher Learning classroom and practice using the Teacher's Edition. And the last slide that you will see that you've seen in our curriculum is the focus question. So we also want to have the focus question on there. This is the question that, remember, the students should be able to answer at the end of every lesson. It's important to have this question, this focus slide with the date so that the students can interact and practice writing the date. You could also use that as a choral read to have the students choral read the date. In the focus slide, you also have visuals. And then at the end, the students, like I said, will be able to answer this. And we provide the speaking stem and the phrase bank. So this is something that you can also continue to do with your classes. We have the WIDA can do descriptors, and remember, we always want to show that the students in your ELD are in level 1, which is entering, and we want to gradually have them progress to level 2 or level 3. The can do descriptors just do point out the specific skills that students should be able to do at each level. And in another training, we're actually going to dive deeper into these can do descriptors for you. All right, so for the fun stuff, so this is what's coming soon to a school near you, is your ELD curriculum box, and you will have all of these things coming into your box. One of the things that I do want to mention is to make sure that you let your front staff or whoever is in charge of textbooks know that you are going to be expecting a box soon. I've been told it is in the district warehouse, and but they haven't distributed it to the schools yet. They're just going to they're compiling it all, and then they will be, we don't have a date yet, but hopefully it'll be soon. And Teresa, did you want to add to that?
Yes, I just want to interject real quickly to let you all know that the part of the materials have arrived. We're expecting the rest of them to, the printed materials, to arrive at the end of this week. And we're hoping that by next week, they start disseminating into the schools. So be on the lookout.
Awesome. That is so exciting. So some of the things that you will find in your materials are the teacher edition, the student edition, the practice book, your assessment book, the level readers, and your teacher's guide. So today we're going to look at the teacher's edition, and this is all going to be the hardcover, right? That's what I'm speaking on, is the hardcover teacher's edition. So in there you will find your scope and sequence, and the scope and sequence is going to go through basically everything that you need in order to teach. But we actually took that one step further, and we went ahead and created a pacing guide for you so that you can use this. And it was based off of a 45-minute class lesson. So it has, we're going to focus today on the first week of the pacing guide, and it does have suggestions, dates of where you should be, but obviously you're going to cater to your students and where their needs are. So you may take a little bit longer, or you may move a little bit faster. That's fine. But we just wanted to give you something to have. So let's look at the calendar, and in the calendar it'll show you more or less like when you should be on Unit 1, and then so you see how Unit 1 runs up until October 12th, and then we go into Unit 2 and so on. We also have highlighted there the dates of your ELD trainings. So looking on page 7, which would be of your teacher's edition, this is the first page that the students and the teacher has, and it discusses your unit goals. One of the things, if you look at the first bullet, it says students will use viewing, active listening, oral language, reading, and writing to practice greetings. One of the things that I love about Vista is that all of the 4 language domains are already incorporated into the lessons for you. This is the page 20 of the teacher's edition, which it kind of gives you an overview of what the unit is going to be about. And we wanted to point out some specific things on this page. If you are going to work on creating your board configuration, if you look, it has the essential question there for you, so you can use this essential question that they have to create that board configuration for you. It also has the gradual release already embedded in there. So you can see that this would be the I do, which the teacher is going to identify, complete sentences, and it even has a script of what the teacher should be saying. And then we have the we do, which is the students, you're going to model in the form and use correct punctuation. And then the you do, where students will do an independent practice. And then, of course, the teacher could then review that practice with the students. At the bottom of the page, and with all of the lessons, it has the differentiated instruction. So it shows you scaffolds and also how to amplify the lesson for your students that need a little bit more rigor. And I really do love this part. We also included practice and homework for the students. So you will see this is the practice book. And for example, for our first week, we had the students are going to practice page 15 through 16. And here is that example for you. And it also includes an assessment program. And the assessment program shows different quizzes that you can give for each unit, broken down, and there they are. And we have an example of the quiz, Unit 1 quiz, which is Connect to Grammar. And so we are back to the famous focus question. And the question was, what do we need to know about Unit 1? I'm going to give you guys a minute and just look at your speaking STEM and think about that. What do you feel like you need to know about Unit 1? And I'm going to call on someone to use their speaking STEM and something from the phrase bank to go ahead and help answer this question just like you would with your students. Let's see. Is Jennifer available to unmute herself?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. We need to know all of the materials needed for the unit, which you just went over.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And again, then you would review with your students the day of the week so that they have that as well. All right. Again, my name is Leisha Rivera, and I believe yes, Rosa, if you want to wave hi. She is another ESOL instructional specialist that is on and also part of the ELD team. I believe she's here.
I am here.
Oh, there you are.
Thank you, Leisha.
No problem. And then this is our Twitter. And if you need to get a hold of us. And I'm going to now give it to Teresa.
Thank you, Leisha. So that was a brief rolling out of what components are included in Unit 1. Now we're going to go a little bit more in depth with Jody Knopf. Jody was or is a former Palm Beach County School District employee. She was one of our teachers, one of our ESOL coordinators, actually, and is now moved on to Vista Higher Learning. And we're very excited to have her as part of our support system in the rollout of these new instructional materials for the ELD course. Go ahead, Jody.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I am super excited. I am Jody Nolf. I left the school district in June of 22, for those of you who don't know me, after 26 years of service. I was the ESOL coordinator at Jupiter Middle. I was also a secondary English and intensive reading teacher. I'm actually at my home in Chiquesta, and I'll be heading down to the district later on today. So I am very, very excited. So yes, you will be getting all of these materials, both in print and digital. So what I'm going to start with just a few slides. I know you already just saw what you're going to get, but I want to explain the subtle differences and where each piece kind of fits together. And then I'm going to show you little pieces of the super site. I'm going to walk you through a course setup, but do not worry if you don't grasp everything today. We only have a limited amount of time. It is being recorded, but understand through subsequent trainings, you will understand how to use all these pieces, how to access your course, how to roster your students, because I am your point person and I live right here. And I'm really excited to work with my former team. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. And let's start with this. Can everyone see my welcome sign? Just want to make sure that I'm sharing.
Yes.
Perfect. So if you want to log in, we have what we call sandbox access. Now, understand that you are going to be fully integrated with Clever. I want to make that very clear. The integration has not happened yet, but you will be launching through Clever. But if you want to play in the sandbox with the access, you can go on to vhlcentral.com. If you have your camera phones and you want to take a picture, you can use the name of ESL Review at palmbeachschools.org, and the password is Palm Beach 2023. This will expire in a few weeks, but really it's for playing. And we really do encourage you to play because there is so much in it. So this is our Get Ready and Get Reading program. So you will be either receiving the Get Ready, Get Reading 6 through 8, which is the orange, and or you will be receiving the Get Ready, Get Reading 9 through 12, which is the purple. They function exactly the same, and you will also receive your scaffolded readers for Get Reading. I will go more into that another day, but I'm really excited that you're also going to be using Get Reading. So as you saw in the previous slides, you are going to be receiving a print edition of the Teacher's Edition, which I'm going to show it to you how to access it online. Now, the assessment book, just so you understand, that is for you. That's not a test book that you give to the students. That is your book, but we also have digital assessments, which you'll learn about. And we also have what I call the print and goes. You can also print them right from the super site as well. Now, the work text, that is the actual student textbook. When you get it, it's a very durable, soft cover book. That is what we call our actual student textbook or student edition. So the practice book differs because that is exactly what it says it is. It's a practice book. It is supplementary practice, which, by the way, you do have the online practice book as well that has online activities. But this is supplementary material. There's no real instruction in here because that's going to come from your student edition. This is your supplementary practice, your small group instruction, your homework, etc. And then your Get Reading, you're going to get a teaching guide, and you will also have scaffold A and B readers, which, by the way, you're going to have those digitally as well. And in your sandbox play around access, you'll be able to access those as well. They do read aloud to the students, by the way. So the digital access you're going to receive, the licenses are not fully set up yet. They should only be a few more days. You're going to have your student interface, which I will launch into in just a few minutes. And this has all of these online tools, grading features, resources, customizable content, all of this great stuff for you. And then, of course, the student interface that your students will have access to. It's completely interactive. There's all of this media content, culturally relevant content, and I like to say age-appropriate content. These secondary learners, and I had them as well, they don't want to see 6-year-olds. They want to see students who look like them and are their age, and they will see that in all of the content. So understand that when the integration occurs, you will be going in through your portal. So let me explain what this integration is. You will go in through your portal. You will log in through Clever. You will access a lot of things through Blender. So you will have single sign-on access. And just as a note, you will also have rostering. Just like a lot of the other programs, for example, Imagine Learning and Achieve 3000, where once you classified your ELs, once I gave the WITA screener and classified them, overnight the system would sync and the students were automatically in the program. We are going to have that for you as well. So just understand, today you can access the super site through vhlcentral.com, but neither you nor your students will ever access it this way. They will only go through Clever. So I'm going to explain really quickly about creating a course, but don't worry, because I'm actually going to walk you through that a little bit later today, before this meeting ends. So when you first start to create a course, and I do want to stress, even though you're integrated, you still need to actually create a course, but it's so easy to do. So you're going to be prompted for 2 choices. Just remember, right is right. You're going to choose custom on the right. Express is going to front load every assignment, whether you want it or not. So you will go through custom. And then it will bring you to our dashboard. So over here, you're going to see a plus sign. Now, I already have a course already built. I have many courses built, but you will see a plus sign next to the word courses that you will click, and it will prompt you to enter in all this information. Now, the district and or your admin might decide a course name for you. These are discussions that you might want to have beforehand. The default settings you can really leave in place. The start date will always be today's date, or the date that you are setting up your course. Now, the end date might happen 2 ways. If it is already chosen for you, you will know, because it will be gray and you will not be able to change the end date. If you are able to do so, just choose an end date that's a few days after the last day of school, because it's a little stickier to get into once the course is archived. It's not impossible, but you can save yourselves a lot of time by simply making the end date a little bit after the last day of school, because you know you're going to have to go in and reconcile grades and so forth. Then we just move across to the content. I'm going to show you how to set up the grade book, and there'll be a summary piece where you can print out all of these settings that you are putting into place. Now, linking your rosters with Clever, I won't be able to show you that authentically today because I am not integrated. But when the time comes, you're going to see how easy it is. I'm going to show you where this lives in the dashboard. You're going to see something that says manage student enrollments, but mine, when I show you mine today, it's going to say open student enrollments, again, because I'm not integrated. So all you're going to need to do is link your section. I'm going to talk about courses and sections in a little bit, to your actual course that is in SIS. Now, for those of you who are like me, who are the old timers, who remember using EDW and who still use EDW, if you remember, the courses are a long strand of letters and numbers. That's what's going to appear here. It's going to be the district's identification of that particular section or roster. Maybe it's your period 1, maybe it's your period 5. And when the time comes, you will know how to link it to the course and section that you made in VHL Central. Very easy to do. And then on your dashboard, once that's all done, you will actually be able to see the number of students that you have. And again, it will sync with the student information system. So as we classify more and more newcomers, the system will sync overnight and you will be able to put those students into your class. And then we have our dashboard. You're going to take a quick look at that today, but I'm hoping that you play around with it in the sandbox. And these are the main components. Notice there's really 4 components that you're going to be using: the dashboard, assigning, grading, and I'm going to go into some teaching tools in just a few moments. And the Teacher's Edition has just so many resources. You're going to see that today. We have all of this front-based matter that, of course, is all rooted in research. As you saw, we have the wraparound text. It is scripted as support if you need it. What I always loved about it, it was for when the teachers are not in the classroom. When there's a sub in there, the teaching can still continue. And you don't have to worry about just printing things out and putting them on the computer and putting them in front of a video. There's actually instruction that can continue. And as you also saw on every page, by the way, we have the differentiated instruction. We have the scaffolds. We have the amplification. We do it all for you. We're the one-stop shop. We don't want you to have to spend any additional time on anything. We did it all for you in these resources. And so our interactive student edition, you're going to see a little bit of that today, just to show you a few brief pages. Everything is interactive. Just notice really quickly on this page that the students represented in the video content are all secondary students. Your students are going to see students who look like them. And of course, we have our language in action, but notice we have all our word banks, our sentence stems, our frames, listening strategies, reading strategies, everything. And every time you see something that has a mouse, that means that it is an interactive activity. So it's all interactive. But again, these students will have a book of their own. It's not just digital content, because we know sometimes we need time to work out of a book where we might not want them on the computer every single day. They have a book. We have many printed resources as well. That's going to be in a subsequent training. But if you have your sandbox access, you can access all the printables, by the way. I call these print and go. You have access to all of this. And just a note, right here, grammar slides. So in those other slides where you saw grammar lessons, we also made you slides to go with them. So we don't want you to have to develop all of this additional content in teaching grammar. We have tutorials, we have slides, as well as the print and digital activities to go with it. So we really kind of thought of everything. And over here, now you will get this slide presentation, by the way. This has already been shared with the district, so you will have all of this. There are help videos for using Clever, instructor videos, the teacher guide, and a get ready overview. You will have access to all of this. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing this, but before I actually go into the super site, I wanted to know if there were specific questions just on what you saw in the slides. Okay, so now I'm going to actually go into the super site. So I'm going to start sharing again. So again, just to check, good, everyone can see my landing page, correct?
Yes.
Yes, perfect. Okay, so this is what you're going to see as well. Mine might look a little different than yours only because I have a lot more content. I do want to draw your attention to this help button. We have many help videos for you. And again, I am your point person. I live right in the district if you came in late. So I will be here to support you. So for today, I'm going to go down into Get Ready, Get Reading 9 through 12. If you are 6 through 8, if you're in the middle school, understand everything navigates the same way. I do want to point out that Get Reading is bundled in this tile. So you will not have to go into a separate tile for Get Reading. Those are the scaffolded readers. They are all loaded into one platform. So I'm going to click on it. And I think the first thing that I'll do is I will walk you through course setup. Since I was talking about that, I'm also going to go into the teacher's edition, and I'm going to show you pieces of the vText. So again, this is our dashboard. This is home base. Over here, now yours will be blank only because I have many courses already set up. Yours will be blank, but you will see courses and the plus sign. You simply click add. Sorry if mine is a little slow, just because I'm expecting a storm and I have many people on today. If I need to, I could always turn my camera off. So again, right is right. I'm going to click custom. And now we're going to name the course. So for today, I'm just going to call it PB19 since we're in Palm Beach and it's the 19th. Default settings you can leave. It's all based upon what the district purchased and your integration. Today's start date. Now, in Palm Beach County, we know that we end right around Memorial Day. So I'm going to make my end date June 3rd. Again, this might be decided for you. You can always go back. We have plenty of safeties, but for now, we will click next. Now we are in the content section. Again, you can leave the default. You have get ready, get reading. There are 10 units. I do want to draw your attention to this. It says allow students to see the estimated time necessary to complete assignments. By default, it is checked. What this is saying is that students will know ahead of time how long an assignment should take them. I prefer to uncheck it. Number one, I, as the teacher, and you will always know how long an assignment should take. So if it's a 3-minute video, Vista will tell you it should take about 5 minutes. Number two, you will always know how long the student spent on it. When we get into more trainings with the gradebook, you're going to see how long your students interacted. So if they just clicked away, you will know. This is saying that they will know how long it should take. I like a more authentic experience, so I uncheck it. You do want to enable individualized assigning. When I get to assigning work in another training, this will become very clear to you and you'll understand the importance and the impact of being able to individually assign. Now, I tend to leave all these as they are. I like to limit the amount of digital interaction with them and with each other. That is just my personal preference. You know your students better than anyone. For example, I only allow them to chat in chat activities. Then we click next. And now we have our gradebook. I'm going to show you how easy this is. We have a tutorial. You don't even need it. It is so simple to do. I'm going to scroll down. This is exactly what you're going to see. Before we add a category, I want to show you this bar right here. I call it the cup. And we need to fill the cup up with 100% of weight in order to move on. Notice that we can't even click next until we do our gradebook and fill it up to exactly 100%. So what do? We add a category. Notice I said percent, not points. So I'm going to add a category. So for today, I'll just do CW for classwork. This yellow dot will follow us as we move along. For today, I'm going to make it worth 50%. I'm going to click next. Because it's classwork, I'll count it for a grade. I could drop the lowest grades if I want. Click next. I can give them more than one attempt. I could do unlimited if it's only for practice. This does not include assessments. That will be in another training. This is for your everyday work. We click next. You can decide if you want to count for capitalization and punctuation. We click next. You do want the enhanced feedback. What this feature allows is in instructor graded activities, by the way, we have many auto graded ones as well, but in a teacher, in an instructor graded activity, you will get pop-up boxes that will allow you to type feedback. You can also actually record your voice and record feedback for them. We click next. Notice that our yellow dot has moved. Can they submit late or not? If they can, is there penalty? And we click save. Now our cup is only 50% filled. I cannot move on. So now I need to add 1, 2, 3, however many categories you want. For today, I'm just going to add one more. I'll call it HW for homework. Click next, and we go through the process again. Click next. Now, homework I can change for credit. My point is, you do not need to be consistent across your categories or what we call buckets. If you want your classwork bucket to be worth a grade, but your homework bucket to be pass, fail, or credit, you can do that as well. We click next and we just move along and we click save. Now the cup is 100% filled. Our bar is all blue. Now we can move on. We click next, and now we have this PDF summary that you can print out. You could put it in your records. You can submit it to your admin. It's for your stakeholders, basically explaining what we just did and how you are assessing your children. We go down to the bottom and we click save. It's going to prompt you and say, do you want to create a section? Yes. I'm going to explain why and the difference between a course and a section. So we're going to click yes. Come on. And we do need to name it. This might be your class period. I'll name it period 5. You can give more information if you want. You might say grade 7. You do want to allow new students to enroll. Here you have the ability to front load assignments, but not make them visible yet until you're ready to assign it. If you're like me, I like to plan things well in advance, but I don't necessarily want the students working ahead. That is an option. You can leave all this alone. This is basically saying when you meet, and this is your information. But I want to draw your attention to add or edit additional instructors. Now, when I click this open, you're going to see people associated not only with VHL Central, but associated with my organization. You will see people associated with your organization, most likely at your school, and whoever is also in Get Ready. You have 3 options. And I want to start by saying that this might be a district decision. This might be a school-based decision, but have the conversations first, either in your PLCs or your departments. Figure out what is going to be best for you, and more importantly, the students that we all serve. So option number 1 is for you to be your own entity, meaning nobody has access to your login or your platform but you. You can do that. Option number 2, and I'm going to use a Google analogy, is to have a co-instructor. So when you share something in Google with your friend, you might give them editing permissions. That's what a co-instructor has. A co-instructor has all of the rights and permissions of everything that you do except what we just did right now. They cannot change the parameters of your course. They cannot alter your gradebook. They can't change the name of your course. But here's what a co-instructor can do. If you're absent, oh my gosh, I'm not going to make it to work. Can someone go in and print out some work or assign some activities for my kids? Yes, that's what a co-instructor can do. It's a means of support. I find in my experience through all of my trainings that district personnel, coaches, administrators, they tend to make themselves as co-instructors, maybe ESOL coordinators, but it is designed as a support system for you. Now, option number 3 is to have an assistant. If you share something with your friend in Google, you might give them viewing permissions, but they cannot make any edits. And that's what an assistant can do. They can see, for example, maybe students that you share, and you can kind of collaborate and discuss their progress, but they cannot make any edits in your program. And those are just some options that you could do in sections. When you're done, you go down and you click submit. And now we have our course. So over here is the gear shift. You can always make edits. You could add a section. We never want you to feel completely locked in. Notice this says open student enrollment. Remember, yours is going to say manage student enrollments because you have a clever integration. Now, the section itself is right here. You can also edit within the section right here. You can make edits. Before I go into the teacher's edition, I really want to explain the difference between a course and a section, because you might think you have more than one course when really you have the same course, but you just have more than one section. So a course is the textbook you are using. So for example, if you're in the high school and you're teaching only out of Get Ready, Get Reading 9 through 12, you're going to have one course. However, let's say you have one ELD course for your 9th and 10th graders and another, or I should say section, excuse me, for your 11th and 12th graders. You will have two sections. A course is the textbook you're using. A section is a roster. That's a roster. So again, if you only teach out of one textbook, you have one course. But if you have a period 1 and a period 3 and a period 5, those 3 periods are going to be 3 sections because there are 3 rosters. And this will all become very, very clear as we get our licenses and get set up and get going. It's very, very seamless. Okay. So now what I want to show you is I want to go into the teacher's edition. So the dashboard is home plate. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go right into teaching tools. And here is the teacher's edition. If you click it, it will open in its own window. I prefer to right click. I prefer it in a separate tab and I already have it open. So I'm going to go into the teacher's edition. And just to clarify, everyone can still see this, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. I always want to make sure. I was a Google Meet user, and now, of course, I do everything on Zoom. So I really want to just make sure that everyone can see this and be able to follow along. So you're going to get your teacher's edition in hard copy. This is exactly the same. So for example, presentation of teacher's edition, all of this is the front matter. All of this is hyperlinked. We have support for SIFE. We have support for students who are dual identified, all of these beautiful resources that you are going to see in your print edition. I do want to clarify that the textbook itself is not interactive because this is not what you're going to have on your smartboard. You're going to be showing the student edition that I'm going to show you in just a few moments. So I'm going to go into the scope and sequence, which in Get Ready, Get Reading, very easy to find. You actually open the student edition. 1, 2, 3. Scope and sequence is right here. And as you saw, you did see this. It is a horizontally designed curriculum, but I want to explain very briefly how we organized this year at a glance. There are 10 thematic units. So we have more than enough material for your students to really, really develop language in all 4 language domains. They all center around a theme. They do increase in complexity a little bit, but not to the point where, for example, if you have a student who enters in December, they're going to be lost because they didn't understand, for example, or they might have missed unit 1. We do not move it that quickly because we know that we have students arriving all the time. We want them to always be successful no matter when they start. So now we have 3 sections in every unit. We have our language and literacy. Notice we have what we call a phonics slice. We call these slices. Even in secondary, we have phonics. As we move along, we have our connecting to the content areas. Understand that we are not teaching the academic benchmarks of the content area. We're a language company. That's all we do. But what we are doing is we are teaching the academic language and vocabulary that is age and grade level appropriate so that they can be supported and grow in the content area. We know that academic vocabulary is something they really all need. This is great for our collaborative models. It's great for those standalone ELD courses because you can work on that academic vocabulary out of Get Ready while they are learning their content area strands in their content area classes. We always have something for electives. And then our last section is what we call putting it all together, what I call the exhale to the inhale, where students will demonstrate mastery through writing, project-based learning, and we have these beautiful media pieces. If you happen to attend a few months ago when I was down at the district presenting the entire program, we saw some videos and they are so beautifully done and they're current. They're very, very current. And so that is the scope and sequence. Now, I just want to go very quickly into just a page or two in the teacher's edition to reiterate that we have all of our wraparound text on every single page as support. We also, on every page, have the differentiated instruction. We scaffold and amplify for you so that you can really meet the needs of every student in your class. Okay? So now I'm going to go into the vText. So I'm going to go back to my dashboard. I was in Teaching Tools, Teacher's Edition. Now I'm going to go into the vText, Interactive Virtual Textbook. Again, if you click it open, it's going to be its own window. I prefer to right click and open in a separate tab, and I have that right here. So this is, by the way, this is our interactive student edition. So now I'm going to go into Unit 1, and all of this is hyperlinked. Everything. All of this for quick jumps into the contents. We have our look and say. We're learning about introductions. Every unit starts with connect to the theme. And as we hover over these interactive activities, you're going to see these boxes, which will become very apparent to you and more helpful to you as we go through the program and as we go through the trainings, because this really helps with navigation. We want to make it so that you can navigate with ease. So when we click, for example, connect to the theme, it might drag a little bit just because of the weather outside my house, but we have these beautiful videos. You could have on the closed captioning. You can make it full screen, of course. You can also put on the English transcript, have the kids practice reading karaoke style. But notice their students' age. We always start with a connect the theme to the theme video. We want these students to feel very engaged right from day one. So notice all of these pieces are interactive. We always start with our essential question. All of these lead to activities. Anything with a mouse is interactive. P2 student book, P3 student book. When you start assigning activities, you're going to see how easily we match things up by name. We want to keep the nomenclature standard throughout so that when you go into the super site, you can find everything you need very, very easily. Our connect to language, we always have our listening strategies. We have our fill in the blank. All of these could be done digitally. We have our word bank. So for example, if we click this open, this is something that, by the way, you could start doing whole group if you want. So this is writing. We have many activities that are auto-graded. It's great for practicing their typing skills for their state tests, but they could always do it on a separate sheet of paper to practice their handwriting as well. Up here at the top of all of our activities, we have direct links back into the textbook. It's a great skill to teach those kids to go back into the text. Our info button has an embedded heritage language glossary with many languages represented. I will show you in another training how you could add your own instructions and customize them. There are so many ways to make this accessible from day one. By the way, anything with an apple is something that is instructor graded. We have these little icons by all assignments so you could see exactly the type of activity it is. So going back into our student edition, look at all of this video content. All of these are students who are their age. Again, word banks, sentence starters. We have sentence frames. Everything is right there for you. So in language in action, I am going to show you a little bit of this. This is a great activity. These students, which by the way, we film all our own content, are throughout the text. By the way, it's the same for 6 through 8. These students will actually be able to interact with your students. And it's really, really exciting. So let me bring this up. And this is just episode 1. You could break it into the entire video. You can see little pieces. Again, you can put the closed captioning on. You can make it full screen. You could have the transcript on if you want. And this is such a great teachable moment. I'm going to show you one more scene just so you can understand what your students will be doing with this video when they have completed this video episode. It's all about introducing themselves. So it's all about introducing themselves and spelling their names. But one thing that I really love about this program, among many other things, is that nothing that we do is just a passive activity. It's not, okay, here's a video and isn't that great? Everything involves around building language fluency in all 4 domains. So here is what you can do with this video. And by the way, with your sandbox access, you can play with this. You could do it whole group before you start having your students interact with it on their own. So let me go back into this is the teacher's edition. Let me find my student edition. Let me go back into the dashboard. So I'm going to show you an activity that you can do with it. And I kind of call this the crown jewel. It's something that we really take pride in. And so here we have the video with the scenes, and here we have what we call our video virtual chat. Your students can actually talk to Martina. So I'm going to click it open. Now I do want to, because it's a separate window, can you see this? Can someone? No, you can't see it. Okay.
No, yeah.
Okay. So let me get out of that. See if I could, there we go. I'll put it in a separate tab. Perfect. So you can actually talk to Martina. And we call this our video virtual chat. You could do this whole group to start, have them engage with it, have them talk to Martina. Jody. Jody. Nolf. Nolf. And now you can review it with them. I mean, how great is that for students to be able to really practice not only capturing their voices, but listening to themselves? It's great, especially around access time, and they really have to practice speaking. And it's a great way to really engage with the content.
Jody, we can't hear her.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's see. Let's see. Were you able to hear that?
I think it's the connections.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's probably because of at my end, just because I don't have so much bandwidth for so many people, but understand that all of that is captured. And if it's an assignment, the students simply submit it and it goes to your platform just like the WIDA screener does. You will be able to listen to it and assess it. You can count it for practice. I mean, we really do design it to not be punitive, actually. We design it to be interactive, engaging, and allow for practice. Again, the page numbers are right here. You could do so much with all of these pieces. So we have about 5 minutes left. So I always like to take this opportunity to either ask the team or a few teachers, is there something that you saw that you had more questions about, or maybe something that you didn't see that you would like for me to show you in the last 5 minutes?
Marie has patiently been waiting.
Oh, perfect. How can I help you?
I'm not sure if you answered it. I mean, I know it's a lot to unpack, but I was very interested in the homework and the practice piece. I think that's amazing because I'm constantly going all over the internet to get a grammar, a grammar topic, and printing it out. So my question is, will the students have the practice? Will each student have their own, or do I have it and I make copies?
No, that's a great question.
Okay.
I did see now, Teresa, do you want to take this one? Because I believe that they all have their own practice books. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Oh, so they get it every year. That we will be getting new sets every year, right? For the class?
Of the practice book, right?
The practice book, yeah. So if I have, let's say, 30 students, I will get 30 of those, or do I have to make copies?
No, you will have one practice book.
And I make copies for the students.
Mm-hmm. Hold on, I'm going to show you.
Okay.
Now the work text, and I could be wrong, the work text, which is like the student edition with the picture on it, I believe that is class set. I believe that is class set.
So
Okay.
this is the 6 through 8 practice book, and this will come on your teacher resource box.
Okay.
And this is the 9 through 12 practice book, and every teacher will have one.
Okay.
Okay.
Excellent.
Now this is a good prelude for something I wanted to say. Not every student will receive a student edition book, because they're going to be available electronically, digitally, okay? However, if you have, we order some because we always have some exceptions to the rules, right? If you have a student that has a certain accommodation or a certain need that might require a paper student edition, you need to contact me, because we will have a few here at the district office, okay? But the bulk of our students will have their student edition digital, which is what Jody calls the VTEX. And we will be calling it that very soon.
I want to just say that this is just amazing because I just started doing my center, like station rotations with the kids, and this will fit in perfectly. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. I love it. Thank you.
Glad. Oh, and just as a side note, Marie, the practice book, those activities are online. So don't feel like, well, if it's practice, I have to sit there and make copies of everything. No, they have activities digitally as well. You might want to make a few copies as an adaptation or an accommodation for a student who needs paper, but they have those practice activities. Everything is online. Some of it's auto-graded, and I mean, it's already all done for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jody, so much for all this information, your wealth of knowledge. I want to reiterate that we have additional trainings coming up. You can attend all of them if you want to, as many as you can. We have a few in person as well. They're scheduled from 4 to 6 with an extended lab hour. If you needed one-on-one assistance with anything techie, Jody will make herself available to support you. Just bring your device with you. We have our first one this afternoon. If you sign up for the in-person, I will automatically email you my cell number because our front doors close at 4:30. And if for some reason you come later, you can always text me and I will let you in. Rosa is going to put in the chat box a link for a document that has some information, just to remind you of the document with all the list of all of the trainings by date. We're going to have office hours. We have scheduled 2, and that link is going to be included in the document that Rosa is going to put in the chat box. We have one scheduled for September and one for October. September 28th, to give time for the materials to get to you. It's going to be open, first come, first serve. You come in, you log in, and stay as long as you need to. And Jody will be answering questions, and I will be there with her. I have created a document that I'm going to share with you all, where we're going to keep all the questions and the answers. So you can always go back and refer to it. Okay, and Jody has graciously recorded herself giving these instructions on how to create your class, and I'm going to be posting that in Blender. Just give me a few days.
Thank you. I'm actually going to head down to the district. So I will see you very, very soon. And I'm so excited for all of you. I mean, you're my district. I mean, you know, I worked with so many of you. I'm so excited. And if you need anything, you just let one of us know, and I'll see you again.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and have a wonderful afternoon. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.